I'd like to call the February 8th, 2023 meeting of the Ogden Town Board to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd ask that you remain standing for a moment of silent reflection and prayer for our military servicemen and women serving around the world, as well as for our first responders. Thank you. Okay, thank you all for being here tonight. We've got a number of things on the agenda, but we are going to start with our presentations and proclamations, the quarterly update from Gates Volunteer Ambulance Services. Chief, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Good.
So I got my numbers here for the fourth quarter. When Christian asked me about year-end stuff, it unfortunately came late. My board decided not to meet on Valentine's Day, something about their spouses, so they moved it to yesterday, and it caught me off guard. So I apologize for that, but I will be back on the 22nd to do a year-end out. So, but for fourth quarter here, these are the call volume numbers. Ogden, total for October, November, and December was 360 calls. 360 calls, and then Spencerport obviously, and Parma and Gates are in there. Total calls for the entire district was 2,193. Total bill down at the bottom there. And I like to put that on there to give you a general idea for the district that we built out as a whole was $1.7 million that we billed in insurance. Unfortunately, we're definitely not going to get that. Write-offs for Ogden, Parma, and Spencerport total, and I have to group them together. Based on zip codes and stuff like that, we can't, it's difficult for us to separate out. I suppose if we had tax district databases and we could do it that way, but it would be much difficult, or really difficult. But total for Ogden, Parma, and Spencerport write-offs is $58,000. What that means is that $58,000, that's all of those $150 credits that we're giving people when they take an ambulance. So that's what that amounts to. And then I put in total write-offs for Gates, obviously it's a lot higher. And then underneath that I put in uncollectibles as a whole. And what that uncollectible number is those are the number, that's what we don't get regardless. It's Medicare is only going to pay us X even though we bill Y. You know, Medicaid only gives us $150 when we bill $500. So that is all of the money, and you could subtract that from that 1.7 and we still have to fight for everything. So that is basically, even for quarter four, that we're not even gonna get it all. Total calls dropped to quarter four. We dropped 110 calls total across the district. It gets us at 95% call coverage. And we still have an 8-minute and 41-second response time across the board. With these numbers, that does not include any of our mutual aid out of here. So just so you understand, any of those drop calls were in district and not out of district. With out of district calls and so forth with the mutual aid, I know that's a huge point for a lot of people. Just so you understand, for October, November, and December, I reported out at the board meeting last night, we returned calls that we were given from mutual aid, almost 150 of them, saying we have no trucks to cover, and we kept trucks in district to cover for people in Ogden and Parma and Spencerport. So we are returning calls. We don't take every call that is given to us. We don't have to. We do have the right to reserve resources, which we do. And we tend to go to calls that are priority 1, trouble breathing, chest pains. We will take those calls, but otherwise we keep resources in district so that we can respond to our people first. But again, that average drop time or response time is actually it went up a little bit with mutual aid, but we're still well under that 9-minute mark for all of our priority calls. I did put on here 2 total falls calls that we canceled, we go to. So in the town of Ogden alone, we went and we picked people up 84 times off the carpet or off the floor. We don't bill for any of that stuff. We pick them up, make sure they're okay. None of these people transported to the hospital, but it did still require us to go out the door, to go to these people, pick them up, and so forth. And again, we don't bill for any of that at all. We'd like to keep it that way. It's one of those services. What we never want is our population that is most vulnerable to not wanna call us, because then, then they're gonna sit on the floor waiting for a family member to come pick them up, or who knows what. So we never want that to be a concern, that they have a bill to pay, so we make sure that we keep that going. Loan closet and so forth is active and still running. We have, CPR clinics that we have started back up again, in all of the towns. And then also standbys in the town of Ogden. In December, we did, Santa's Magical Express Parade. We had a couple staff members there for a few hours. We still do the cartons for Christmas out of the Village of Spencerport with the truck. We deliver food and goods and donations to people in need. And then we were also at the tree lighting ceremony. Our CPR, since, that football player collapsed, has quadrupled. And so we are inundated every day with CPR calls. We teach nonstop. And we did teach 18 people at the Ogden Highway Department CPR for just the cost of the cards is what we charge.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Typically, that's what we do, for a town like Spencerport, whoever is in our district. If a business wants it, it's cost of the card only, meaning the American Heart Association charges us to give somebody a card. There's no way around it for us, but everything else we tend to say, it's not a problem, we'll do it. But back to the CPR thing. So in the course of, whenever he collapsed, late December, I believe it was, early January, right? Until now, we have well over 300 people that we have already trained in just handling CPR. So we have 2 more classes this weekend, both on Saturday and Sunday. So if you know people that wanna come, by all means, send them, have them call. We'll bring them in and we'll do it. I'll be more than happy to, so. Is there any questions? And I know Mike talked to me about the report, and I will certainly have all that information for that spreadsheet when I show up in 2 weeks, so. Does anybody have any questions for me?
I have one question, but also, you'll be, Gates Ambulance is assisting in providing CPR to the rest of the town as well, so appreciate that. That's coming at a later date.
Yes, we are actually.
Yeah. So, I'm told, or at least I'm trying to remember, that there's an allocation of funds that, the county may be supplying through their ARPA funds. So, judging by your reaction, I'm not sure that is, solid. Can you maybe speak to that, or?
So we did put in, Dan DeSalvo, Assistant Chief, will put in a proposal for Gates Ambulance. We're looking for, hopefully to get funding for one of our ambulances that we've been waiting on a chassis. Everything's backed up. If you're trying to order trucks, you know this. So, we were promised it early spring, of 2022. It's now looking at first quarter 2024 that we might see this truck. But our goal was, we spec'd out a bariatric ambulance, and it's the same ambulance, except that we're looking to put a heavier set power load gurney in there. Unfortunately, our people are getting heavier. And so we're looking for this power gurney to help our people. We do have some bariatric patients in our districts here that would benefit from this. So we spec'd that all out. We are going to put that in for the ARPA funding.
Okay.
I don't have a lot of.
So pieces of equipment versus operations or something like that?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
And the other thing that we're doing, I belong to the Chiefs Association for Monroe County, for all of the agencies out there, and we are going to resubmit it. It is for, training. So we're looking for a training initiative to help fund us for manpower purposes. So we're looking to fund for EMT classes and paramedics, that we can pay for them to be in class and learn while they're in class, so that we can then kind of retain them. Once they come out, they test, between the 5 agencies that are taking part in this, proposal. We're looking to then be able to spread that manpower out amongst those 5 agencies to help control the issues with lack of people to do EMS at this point in time. So those 2 ones. But Gates particular, yes, we are putting in on Friday, and then my group is putting in for about 5 agencies as a whole, so.
Thank you.
No problem.
I have 2 questions.
Yes.
The total falls,
Yeah.
even though you don't charge, are those dollars or anything included in your total write-offs?
They are not.
Okay. And in your total write-offs,
So I can, excuse me,
sure.
sir, that would be roughly, we charge an average, I shouldn't say we charge, we average between all commercials, insurance, and Medicare, Medicaid, about $400 a call. So you can take that number and multiply by 400. I did not multiply that out.
Okay. And your total write-offs, is that the annual amount?
No, that's a quarter.
That's for that quarter?
That's crazy.
Thank you.
Unfortunately.
Even the uncollectibles, just in one quarter.
It's insane, actually. And it's getting worse. they just started now, I believe it's going to be April 1st. We used to be able to, since COVID, we could make allowances for people that went to the hospital for COVID. And now that's ending April 1st, so, yeah. That, business as usual. Any other questions for me?
Thank you very much,
Thank you
Chief.
very much.
I will see you in 2 weeks.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you.
Okay, that's the only presentation that we have. For a matter of motion to approve the minutes.
Second?
Moved by Councilman Gerbino, seconded by Councilman Hinman. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next on the agenda, we have privilege of the floor. If there's anyone that would like to address the board at this time, please come forward, state your name and address, and the floor will be yours.
How's everybody tonight?
Good.
My name's Peter Cook. I live over on 469 Gillette Road, just around the corner from here, so just a hop, skip, and a jump away.
Except for the bridge.
Well, I live on the south side.
Oh, wow.
Corner here, so I'm good.
You'd have to really
I'm here tonight to bring a little bit of information to the board. Information that I was aware of, although it didn't really personally affect me until I dug in. So, if I could, I'd like to just approach and give you guys a packet of information real quick. We'll get into this in just a moment.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Peter.
Okay. I've lived in the town here since 2011. My family and I really enjoy being part of the community. I've coached summer soccer for quite a few years. I haven't done it lately because the kids really take up a lot of my time. They're getting older and they're in their own sports and everything, so I'm gotta be tending to them. I'm here today as a concerned citizen constituent of this community to discuss local and state security. I know there's been a lot of talk about it, a lot. I'm sick of it, to tell you the truth. But I also don't want to sit back and watch things happen that I don't really think that are going in the right direction. So I came across an online radio podcast. The gentleman's name is Scott Kesterson, Bards FM. Great podcast, I recommend it. He was speaking with, his guest that day was Dr. Douglas Frank. He's a professional out of Ohio. He's a statistician as well as many other things. He was actually on the table and discussing all of the 2020 craziness with Rudy Giuliani and all of those other folks. So that's kind of speaks to his integrity and his professionalism. With his experience working on the 2020 election, it led him and his team to recognize anomalies very quickly. So this discussion really kind of grabbed hold of my interest. I'm like, why can't I just take a look at things too? What's stopping me from doing an independent audit of my own community and see if I can find anything that they're talking about? Because I've never seen any of that personally. I've never seen it. I just hear about it on TV. And the discussion was really, it was in an effort to launch a grassroots effort across the nation and local communities to begin the process of auditing our nation's election processes from the bottom up rather than from the top down. Because from the top down, it's not working anymore. I don't know if you all are going to agree with me with that statement, but I 100% believe that. I started my search for information here in the town of Ogden with the clerk asking for the voter registration rolls. I was really just literally asking for what we did here. She indicated, she takes her little memory stick that all the digital images go on and she uploads it to Monroe County. Monroe County then does the same thing and uploads it to the State Board of Elections. So Monroe County then directed me to the Board of Elections. I called them. I did an online FOIL request, and within 2 days I got the data. A lot of data. much data that my feeling of being impressed with the turnaround time really faded quickly. So you can't use Excel. There's just so much data in this thing. And I tried some workarounds, it just didn't work. I ended up using an online platform called Gigasheet, and I was able to load up all the data. Organize it just as you would with a spreadsheet. I don't know if we have any spreadsheet connoisseurs here, but I love spreadsheets. I love organization and I love analytics, and that's what I do. I said, why don't I just check myself out? Well, see what's going on in my own history. I haven't voted very often. I registered in 2016. Voted a number of 4 times. That's all. I'm not registered with a political party. I didn't feel like I should. It's just my personal preference. I didn't realize at the time when I registered, that's my ignorance, that I couldn't participate in primaries because of that. I mean, it's just it's a state law. I don't know if it's a national law, but it's definitely New York state law. And that references the general provisions, statute 1104, part 9. You know, it's right in the beginning of that whole election law manual. Like I said, I was able to organize that data set. I started off by checking my own, and I found out that I had a 5th vote for primaries in 2018. That was a standard election time between governor, that was a governor race, right? I shouldn't have been there, and the state should have kicked it out because I'm not registered. So what the hell? Pardon my language. So that got me into the group that I am in now, which is Audit New York, Citizens Audit of New York. And this is the data set that we're giving you. This is basically the examination of the records from New York State. Not my personal records that I had pulled. I get 2 copies here from November, December, and December of 2022. So this would actually be the most updated versions. The report was created off 2020. 2022 is not much different. They really haven't done anything. For example, Project Veritas boasted that they got 400,000 names or 400 names removed from New York State voter rolls. They thought it was a big deal. It's really not, because you guys can't imagine how many things should be removed from those voter rolls. Within a few days, I found myself researching and found New York Citizens Audit. I've since found that the team has already been assembled in 2021, actually, and the tremendous amount of data that I had trouble with had already been analyzed by several professionals and forensic analysts that then placed the information into the report format that you're looking at right now. I have with me Bruce Spray. He's right there. He's my moral support. He is actually the Monroe County unit leader for the state. He may also have some information to add, because I am fairly new to the organization, so if I misspeak, hopefully he corrects me. And this is our inaugural effort in the town of Ogden to try to get this information out. Not try, but I'm going to get this information out. So with that said, Bruce, I think I forgot my summary. Do you have a summary on this? I want to read you the summary. I'm going to go through that line by line. It'll take me about 5 minutes to go through it. It basically summarizes this whole report. I don't expect you to comprehend any of this right now. I still don't comprehend half of it. I'm still looking at it myself. But it's, I can go right off the resolution too. They've got the same information on it, right? Okay. There's 3 basic tenets of an election. Voter rolls must be accurate. Votes counted must be from qualified voters, and the number of votes must equal the number of voters. That's basic math. Our findings, one of the most astonishing, I don't understand at all, is there's 1,170,790 current registrants in our system. Yet there are 2,427,827 unique voter IDs attached to those 1.1 million people. That effectively would allow 987,000, or I'm sorry, that would allow that remainder, that additional voting IDs to vote without anybody knowing. Fortunately, I don't have more than one. You're only supposed to have one. Only supposed to have one. It's just like your Social Security card. number. It's that important to you. 490 voters who registered on January 1st from 1900 to 2021. What's January 1st? It's a federal holiday, right? Now, online registering, maybe you can do that, but I don't think online registering was around in 1950, 1960, 1970, maybe even 90 that it originated, right? Possibly, probably not, 2000s. That's a long time for people to be registering on the national holiday. 1.9 million registrants in the state of voter rolls missing from the county rolls. And Bruce just handed me a county report. Makes me sick. 625,359 more registrations than voting age citizens in just 6 counties. We're not one of those counties, thankfully. 740,396 ineligible voters statewide. 338,356 more votes cast than voters who voted in 2020. That doesn't make any sense. 195,271 votes cast in New York City that went missing in the New York City voter database. Really, conclusions come down to there's over this is funny, over 1 million felony violations of the New York State election laws. I mean, if you just count one by one for each thing that they came across, there's over 1 million. I need some explanation. I need to see that. 95 state and federal legislative races impacted by 740,396 ineligible voters. That's huge. The New York State Board of Elections, whether by dereliction of duty or deliberate malfeasance, is unquestionably responsible for affecting election outcomes in New York. A full end-to-end audit by professionals and possibly law enforcement is warranted. This data set came from New York State Board of Elections voter rolls provided October 21st, 2021. That's through FOIL requests, so it's not something that we downloaded offline that can be easily manipulated or placed there by unknown party. Let me put it that way. So it came from the Board of Elections. Counter voter rolls. Not all counties have responded to FOIL requests. Some of them have just completely ignored our requests. And the New York State Secretary of State official website. So those are our 3 major data sources that we pulled this from. We had a lot of time over COVID to start thinking about things. A lot of these professionals making 3-digit salaries or, over $100,000 a year were on furlough, were either laid off or fired. They had nothing better to do than start digging into this data, and they did, and they did a great job. And my hats are off to them. I hope to meet them. I talked to Ron the other day. He's super smart. I want to bring this information to your attention, and I want you to dig into it like I am doing. We need to be educated. We may not be able to change things at this level, but if we're aware, that's going to change things. So, we have also drawn up a resolution for your review. And we were hoping to get signatures from everybody on the board. Kind of wanted to put it on the agenda for review, but first and foremost, we wanted you to review the data. We were then going to propose this resolution to you for review as well. We had planned to do it in 2 weeks. Give us, or the next meeting, which is approximately 2 or 3 weeks away. Spoke with Mike earlier today. Maybe you don't really have the power to sign this and push it forward and really make an impact. But one of our goals of the group here is to get every single conversation in every single town and village in this whole state. I'm thankful for you listening to me this evening. I really appreciate it. But the goal is to get every single town and community aware of what's going on and start putting pressure on these boards of elections, Monroe County, state of New York. We really need to make our voices heard. Being a affected, being that my identity was stolen. Somebody used my vote because they knew I knew the law, and knew I couldn't vote, so they went ahead and took advantage of that and cast a vote in my place. That's discouraging to me. When I never wanted to participate in this whole thing to begin with, I found an opportunity in 2016 where I thought changes were gonna be made, so I decided I'd take part and be a good citizen of the United States. That's part of our citizenship here, is to participate in elections. I didn't really feel like I made an impact. 2016, I changed that thought process. And then everything that happened since then has kind of made me revert back to the way I felt before, until I saw what happened here to myself. So, that's what I have to give to you tonight. So again, I appreciate your time, and, if you have any questions for me right now, I'll be more than happy to try to answer them.
Pete, have you reached out to the Board of Elections yet, or do you intend to reach out to the Board of Elections with
With this particular issue with myself?
yourself?
No, I have not yet. Through conversations with the group, I have been recommended to go to the Ogden Party, or Republican Party, or perhaps work the political portion of this whole thing and push that forward. But, I'm open for any suggestions there. I really don't know what to do with any of that. I mean, I've had a couple things happen in the past to me, none that really affected, like, I felt affected me like this, or this. I really feel like it's affecting me because it's, somebody took my voice away from me.
Some of the, as you, I'm sure now are aware, because you've gone to a FOIL request from the state, and I presume you're going to be talking with county boards of elections as well, but in New York State, the county board of elections are the driving force for voter registrations, voter rolls, and all of the information which is in here. Whether it's accurate or not is a different question. And, the dead people that vote, the people that vote twice or three times, the numbers that, and that addresses, that's a separate issue because it addresses, voter identity, and that's a national topic. To be able to vote, you should be able to prove who you are and where you live, and if you're in the district that is in where you're voting. And so we've got really, the town of Ogden has no control over the Board of Elections other than furnishing them information as people come into the town, want to register. They can, I think, come here and get a voter registration, a form. We don't verify anything. It gets verified at the county. It would seem that the discrepancies of numbers are huge, and as you say, there's 5 or 6 counties that are just,
Maybe-
unexplainable.
Maybe the boroughs,
Yeah,
the boroughs,
yeah.
they have so many people in and out, so.
And, this same issue is, I went to school in the Midwest in the sixties, late sixties, and they said there was over 150,000 dead people that voted in Chicago regularly, some 2 and 3 times. And it was a laughable situation because it happened. There was more people voting than were alive, much less on the rolls, still on the rolls. It's very informative to see these numbers, and, you can ask the board to consider supporting whatever resolution you might want to have them look at. But ultimately, it's the county Board of Elections and the county government that regulates the Board of Elections, where these discrepancies can be brought to light and addressed, at a forum, at something where there is someone who can not only understand what you're saying, but actually act upon it. Just a thought,
I'm almost thinking, let's say if we had, 50 supervisors coming into that Board of Elections meeting where I could do my presentation, that might add a little bit of spice to the whole conversation, right?
it would, except,
Not even saying that could happen, I'm just.
yeah,
saying that,
if you had that happen, we have a divergence of political affiliation throughout the county's supervisors and boards, from east to west. And, you know, we have presently now a very close number at the county legislature. So whether that support of the town supervisors would be, I don't want to use the word impressive, but impressive enough to drive the legislators, whichever side of the aisle they sit on, to take a look at it. I don't know. I don't.
And I'm not approaching really coming as a voter denier, you know, I don't really, I mean, what's happening is what's happening. I mean, it's just, there has to be integrity, and right now there's no integrity because there's so many anomalies.
And
One of the most important things to me is integrity, so.
And it's, those who garnered the most votes are the least likely to upset the apple cart.
Sure, yeah, I'm sure. They're happy where they are.
Yeah,
No,
so,
and
it's not a good system, and the numbers support the fact that it's not a good system.
I appreciate his comments.
Yeah.
Happy to take the materials. Christian will take the materials for review. I'm also on the Association of Supervisors. I'm actually the newly elected secretary because I missed the Christmas party. That's actually a true story, and so no, I'm the secretary of the association. Be happy to give the supervisors that are there kind of a taste of what's coming if you are planning on going to every township. But as Mr. Shum said, this being the Board of Elections, the people who are placed into the Board of Elections are voted on by the county legislators. We used to have a county where the supervisors made up that board to the executive, and that's no longer. So, not that we don't work with them, but the jurisdiction, you know, for that is in the Board of Elections, which is sort of controlled and funded by the county legislature, and not even necessarily the executive, but I'm sure, you know, obviously being the top person in that branch of government might be worth trying to have the conversation there as well.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That's really all I have for you. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate the work you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else that wishes to address the board at this time? Seeing none, I will close the privilege of the floor. Next up is reports and remittances from town officers, Resolution 96.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Toms, seconded by Councilman Baker. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Town audits, Resolution 97.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Toms, seconded by Councilman Baker. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. No correspondence. And next would be reports from town officers. Last month, we had talked about the change that the county had made with the income eligibility for seniors. We, as a town, we sent out 700 cards, information cards, deemed the second notice, even though the first notice is on the tax bill. Very few people saw that as the first notice. So the assessor's office was actually very, very busy within the last week or so, but quite a few people that got help from our department for people who might now be eligible. Pretty much every township did it the exact same way, and we'll have to address next year unless the state sort of fixes the requirement that was just passed. Let's skip that for now. Polar plunge, I may leave that to one of our councilmen to address, but what a great opportunity. Chief, oh my goodness, I almost said Chief Mears. Chief Gray and I went out there, and we were just blown away by the support. Team Ogden raised over $1,600, and just really grateful for everyone who supported us going and jumping in a lake in February. Certainly very grateful to Councilman Gerbino for being the head of all that. It's really something to be a part of and see. You can talk about it all day long, but to be a part of it and see. And yet again, I don't know if this is the second year in a row or third year in a row, but Ogden Highway is there with some trucks to help make sure things were safe, and so appreciate that as well, Dan. Thanks again. Danny was also there, not in swim trunks, and laughed at me the second he saw me in swim trunks.
I was
Appreciate the support.
I was warm. I had coffee and donuts. I was happy.
Okay, great. We have been continuing to work on the grant funding from Assemblyman Jensen for the shop. We keep going back and forth with them on funding sources, but Christian's been doing a great job keeping up on that. Had a meeting with the school district in the assessor's office, just talking about tax rolls, pilot agreements, but really loving the relationship that we've established with multiple partners in the school district and our assessor with their finance department it's been communicating really well. So we talked about scheduled CPR training. A couple of us are going to the Association of Towns conference in New York City. Councilman Baker will be there. Our finance director will be there. I will be there as well. So looking forward to walk away with a lot of good training that will come out of that. Like I said, we've been working on our procurement policy. In fact, the draft of the policy is done. Now we're working on the procedure. Want to make sure that the department heads are able to weigh in on that. And not just the department heads, but the people that are actively submitting. So this would be a lot of our support personnel that are really the ones that probably need to know the policies better than anybody. Had a conversation today with CEO of Ellicott Development, Bill Palladino, just to kind of make sure that he knows that we are, ready to go. We want to make sure that we see the traffic study that was conducted. We want the state to review that. The state is in the process of reviewing that. They're just very anxious to get going, and I understand that. This has been a project for many years, I think starting in 2015, maybe was like the original. So we just want to make sure, since that is the main roads in and out of the town, we've talked about this, but we want to make sure that traffic study makes sense for the residents, not just the developer or any other one entity. And having the review from the state, having the review from our engineer, highway superintendent, building department, everybody has eyes on it, is just going to be the best way forward for residents and for the development. And then last, I was very, very happy to see, and I know a lot of work has been done on this, but we have our safety coordinator, Todd Ritzenthaler, who has been working on the emergency preparedness plan as our coordinator, and we've got a committee meeting coming up later this month for the first time in a very long time, just to make sure that all the key players are ready to go in case of any type of emergency. So it is a very long document that Todd has been working on, and be happy to show this board the second that we are done with that, but it'll be just good to get all the stakeholders in one room and just kind of go through a couple things. So appreciate Todd for all of his work on that. That is all that I have. Councilman Baker.
You covered a bunch of it. The only thing that I really have to offer is just keeping an eye on the governor's executive budget, and something that will be affecting the towns across the state, especially highway, the CHIPS funding. Just keeping an eye on where that money is going to be right now. It looks like it's maybe increased a little bit, so just trying to keep an eye on those things from the state. So, but yeah, you touched on the Association of Towns. Oh, the other thing too is we did meet, myself and the supervisor, along with our comprehensive plan steering committee. That'll be discussed in work session. But just kind of talking about the direction of where we want the comprehensive planning to go. So more to follow on that.
Very good, thank you. Councilman Gerbino?
I'll just get a synopsis of the Polar Plunge. People will be wondering why the town of Ogden, why beneficial to the people of the town of Ogden. A polar plunge simply raises funds and awareness for the athletes of Special Olympics. The uniqueness of the plunge, and we call it a crazy event. It is a crazy event. It's the coldest part of the year in the coldest part of the lake, and the benefit to the overall community is that Special Olympics services the athletes in a way that's rather unique. People perceive it to be sports related only, and it's not. It relates to the sports training, and then everything from medical services to life services. So by getting all of that money to those athletes through the Special Olympics process, the end result is people with intellectual disabilities who may otherwise have to depend on local government services are mainstreamed. They get jobs, they get licenses, they support other members of their own families in multiple other ways. So on that note, the attachment to the plunge of the town of Ogden, it was an easy piece to bring Dan in the first part when we were in need of some equipment, and there was no cost to the town per se. But at the same time, the supervisor, chief of police coming on board and plunging just shows the support that the town has for the people within the county. And it truly is a city, county, and just about every town in the county collaboration when it comes to who's out there, who's plunging, who's doing different things. So from that perspective, we raised about $320,000 in a single-day event for Special Olympics. It goes directly to Special Olympics. And I thank you and the chief and Dan specifically for your second year of involvement with that too. That's it. Thanks.
I feel like Dan hides behind the machines, don't you?
Somebody has to.
Maybe we'll get him jumping in next time. Out of sight, out of mind. Councilman Hinman.
Yes, I attended this month's ZBA just to kind of give support to them and some of the things that they were, applicants that they were dealing with. But they had a real difficult applicant come before. It was kind of abusing them, and just to kind of give them some, like I said, support to hold the line and what they're dealing with. And I think they really held themselves well, maintained themselves well in that throughout that. Also, to be there for them, also as our building inspector and assistant building inspector were bringing all the work that they've been working on with the town code. It was good to be there to kind of help support or add a board's perspective to the processes, and so just to kind of help them through that. And I think the whole process was really good. I mean, definitely, Brian and Sue did a great job in presenting it and everything. So I think everything went well. But it was just good to be there and to be there with the ZBA to see how they deal with it as they, obviously because it's something that affects the ZBA probably more, or maybe more than other boards. So to see how they deal with it and how they process it and explain what's going on and what maybe our perspective as a board would be. So it was just good to be there and kind of help facilitate that process, and it was good. It was a good experience. So I think Brian and Sue have been doing awesome job with this thing. We all know it's a bear of an endeavor that they're in the middle of. So, but it was good just to be there to kind of see how it's going. So that's it.
Very good. Councilman Thomas?
Yeah, very briefly, I did attend Monday night's Rotary meeting, where they had Kathy Connor from the George Eastman House was in, did a pretty nice presentation on the history of George Eastman and Kodak and many of the things that he's accomplished and did in the city of Rochester and area. And also discussed a nice fundraiser coming up, which all of us that are members here will need to be involved in and encouraged to attend the next meeting. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Dan Wolf, Highway Superintendent.
We finished the water line at the fire department, passed all inspections, so I'm pleased with with my highway guys, the work they did up there for our first time challenge on doing a water line. We did it with no leaks, no sprinkler system, no nothing. It worked out well. They charged it, they chlorinated it. Even the guys who
watched us oversee us do the job. Was amazed to see that we can do that job in 15 days up there going through 5 foot of bedrock to put the water line in. So we're looking at other things. We'll meet with the attorneys and Mike, and we'll talk about what we can do throughout the sound. We do have 3 openings at the town highway garage. One gentleman resigned. One went to become a sheriff's deputy, and the one will be retiring, so we have those openings. Recording CDL license turned into a big problem throughout the towns. That the CDL license is gonna be hard to get for some guys due to the classes that they gotta go through, so. A lot of the highways are running this problem. I know 3 of them right now that are running into problems with people that, they can't get their licenses yet, and you're investing a lot of time in them, and when they do get their licenses, some of them are leaving. So it's financially the way they're gonna sit. We've been talking with Brian. We've been trying to understand the village concept of the sewer line and the way that cost goes. I had a meeting with the village today at a Mears Park we're gonna assist the village in doing that job. And I got cornered and heard about it, so I have a better understanding of it. Me and Brian talked some more about it. We're gonna talk some more in the next couple of days to understand the concept of why it's being done that way. But I'm gonna guess that my speculation is in 2027, Ogden's gonna bloom for building in that part of the town. There's gonna be a lot of building in that area because some things go away, and it's gonna open up building in that part of town. That's it.
Vaguely and specific. One of the things I do want to address, though, that Superintendent Wolf is talking about is that there's these tap fees in order to get onto sewer districts, and it's per unit, and they're exorbitant. And some of them are coming from our pump station, and Dan let me know about that.
The understanding of it today is there's not a tap fee for Val Vista because they put in a pump station, so that was their one tap fee for all their building down there, but there's a usage fee down there that they have to pay, and it's substantial, but yes, and after talking with the village, it's understanding to how they do it. It's on the back of people's backs in the village and the other sewer districts, and basically, we spoke about it in the building department today that any building that goes on inside the town, some things have slid through, but they should have been paying on that village fee, for the usage of the sewer, of the pump station. This end over here, Valerie Trail and stuff doesn't count, but anything on that side where that we go into a pump station, it does count, so they should have been billed for it and understanding how it's being worked out and how it's done. It's quite a long method, and took some time to understand it, but now I understand it. It was something that was made up of the old highway superintendent, the old supervisor, and the old building department, and, the only one person knew about it that we finally got to. So, it was kind of strange, but we got to the bottom of it.
All right, thank you. Mrs. Burley, Town Clerk.
We are just busy collecting taxes. Friday is the deadline. Still real busy with passports. We checked where we were this time last year, and we're double the amount of passports where we are this time last year compared to this time now compared to where we were 2 years last year. So, new employee Shannon started. She's just, it's just been awesome. She's just doing great. She jumped right in and has been collecting taxes like she's been there for a year. So it's been great.
Excellent, thank you. And Mr. Shum.
Just recently, actually, the supervisor forwarded me an email about a local church who has a cemetery that they're wanting to turn over to the town, and I know our maintenance department wants to take a look at what they're getting, but under the town law and the cemetery law, towns are obliged to take over cemeteries that have either been abandoned or offered, from churches or other not-for-profit organizations that can no longer support the cemetery. there is a question, I guess, we have to look into, is that there are some funds that the cemetery, that have been dedicated to the cemetery that the church would like to pave their parking lot with, and I think those funds, if they've in fact been furnished for the purposes of maintenance of the graves, that those funds are supposed to be turned over to the town clerk, along with the map of the cemetery and all of the records that she would need to be the keeper of the cemetery records. Met with the supervisor and the building department, and we had a good hour or so session to go over the work that they have done and proposed code changes, and I started the next day to actually try to put together, I think it's gonna end up 6 local laws for the various code changes that are being proposed, and again, they're just proposed, but to see them in black and white and how they're gonna fit into the code is a little different than seeing them on one sheet of paper where it all makes sense, of course. And I'm just trying to make sure that when all is said and done, that to the best of my ability anyway, and Brian and Sue, that there's no conflicts and other provisions of the code that we may not have seen when we're looking at the small picture, if you will. But it involves everything from fences to accessory buildings to sheds to, there's a number of good changes, all of which need to be addressed. So I want to commend them for their work, and hopefully shortly I'll have at least a draft of something to take a look at. That's it.
Thank you very much.
I have a question for
Oh, yeah.
Dan on the cemeteries. Is that also including, are there still graves there for sale that they're gonna?
If there's openings in the cemetery, we become the seller, if you will.
They've indicated that no new graves will be created there. They've indicated that.
That's
Again,
usually
that's why
when
wanna
they
come out.
start turning them over, is when the cemetery's full and they don't have anything more to sell or to offer to the membership.
I just know after talking to Brian out in Sweden and Mike down in Hamlin, that
Oh, jeez. Those are big cemeteries.
there's a
so-
lot to take on with once that responsibility.
And, it's been that way in the town law for all the time I've been town attorney. The state cemetery law, just says, towns, you're it. You're the most logical, except for the cities, of course, city of Rochester, city of Syracuse, whatever, they have that same obligation.
This is, I don't believe that this is a large lot, and
No,
I
it's
do
not.
know that this belongs to a church that they've indicated multiple times. They're all more elderly, their attendance is dropping, they don't feel like they've got funding and resources to continue to maintain certain things like this. And that's the primary reason that I feel like they've initially reached out. But, yeah, the ones in Sweden are enormous.
And Hamlin's,
Hamlin, yeah.
he's got guys that spend days down there, so.
Yeah. Okay, well, there being no other unfinished business, we'll move into new business. Madam Clerk.
Resolution 98, authorizing Acton Town Supervisor Mike Zale to execute an intermunicipal agreement with the County of Monroe for the provision of temporary mobile DMV services at the Ogden Community Center.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Hinman, seconded by Councilman Gerbino. Any discussion on this? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Thank you very much. That was a year's worth of work.
Yes.
Resolution 99, appointing Shannon Roush to the permanent position of full-time office clerk 2 in the Town of Ogden Clerk's Office.
So moved.
A second.
Moved by Councilman Baker, seconded by Councilman Hinman. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next, please.
Resolution 100, approving the promotion of Stephanie Rufino to the position of office clerk 1 in the Ogden Police Department.
So moved. Second?
Moved by Councilman Gerbino, seconded by Councilman Toms. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next, please.
Resolution 101, authorizing Ogden Town Supervisor to execute an agreement with Davis Ulmer Fire Protection for the provision of hydrostatic tests at the Ogden Highway Department.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Moved by Councilman Baker, seconded by Councilman Toms. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next, please.
Resolution 102, authorizing the town of Ogden to request proposals for the furnishing of new interior LED light fixtures at the Ogden Community Center.
So moved.
Second?
Moved by Councilman Gerbino, seconded by Councilman Hinman. Any discussion on this? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. I'd like to make a motion that we move into work session.
Second that.
Seconded by Councilman Toms. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we are adjourned to work session. We're actually going to go to the small conference room. This work session is available to the public, but seeing as we want to have a face-to-face conversation, we want to go back to our table. You are welcome to come. This is a work session of the board, and as such, the people that we've invited to speak will be the only ones that will be speaking at this. It's not an open forum, but it is open to the public if you'd like to join us. Thank you.